NW Smith. So I gave someone a challenge recently to read the book of Malachi because I felt the book of Malachi is a small book, but it's a loaded book, right? It packs a big punch when you sit back and think about it. At least that's how I feel when I sit back and think about it. And they took my challenge and read the book. And the other day we were on the phone, we were discussing, as we were reading, as they read, verse from verse, stuff like that. And this along with the verse about Judah marrying the strange wife, were the two things that really stood out to this individual, So he sat back and discussed it, went back and forth. And the individual thought maybe the messenger part here might have been Jesus. This is because I said there was no Jesus in this book, and they thought maybe this or the Lord right here was what would describe Jesus, right? And I didn't think it did when I went through the book, so we discussed it. And talking to them, we think we might have come to an agreement that it's not Jesus, that this is the Creator. Where it says here, it says, I will send my messenger. This is who they thought maybe this was Jesus first. They thought, and I get it. And he said, who will prepare the way before me. Then suddenly the Lord you are seeking will come to his temple. The messenger of the covenant whom you desire will come, say the Lord Almighty. Now I know this is the international. We actually read the King James, which the King James to this, was a little bit confusing to some degree. And they thought, well, you see, all these other verses they have linked to it. The messenger, it has to be, Jesus. It has to be, Elijah. And this is what I thought though as I was reading this. I said, let's wait a minute. Let's hold up. Let's look up messenger in Hebrew, right? And what I got from the messenger in Hebrew was see the agent of the law. The law right here. Alright? So whoever this messenger is, from what I was reading, they're gonna bring us back the law. Right? We're gonna be going back to the old laws, which I thought, isn't that a little bit against the New Testament? And more specifically with Paul the Apostle and that vision he had where he could eat the unclean animals and the clean animals. I thought, isn't that something? There we go. So I said, all right, let's see what the Catholics have to say. The Catholics were a little bit more clear. They said it could either be a man or a human, or it can be an angelic angel. But whoever this messenger is, from what we took away, it's not Jesus, but they are going to bring us back the old laws of Moses. Let me see if I can. Let me see. And what was the King James? There we go. So let me go back here, back to one. And this is what I thought was interesting. All right, so almost every last one of these translations, they all are going to say messenger. But if you go down to the Catholic translation, Catholic is the only one that actually says angel. See that? And that's what I like to do. I like to, like I showed you before, I like to compare the Catholics, a lot of what they have written versus the King James and everyone else. Because the Catholics, they'll put names in there that are different than others. Not saying everyone don't, but they'll put names in there that if you look them up, they'll still lead you to something else. Like they can lead you to things that like places. Like for instance, like I looked up a few names from the book of Jeremiah, and it led me to companies in South America and in Peru, specifically Peru, that are named these places and they're like companies for wood, logging companies and stuff like that. So I just thought it was interesting because the other translations didn't have those names in there, and the other names didn't give me anything else. But my overall takeaway from this is that I'm so sorry, is that we are going to, as these days draw near, we're going to see the messenger. And I don't know yet if it is Elisha. I don't know if it's Moses. I'm leaning more towards Moses. But also I think about King David, and I'm not sure if it's King David himself or if it's his bloodline. I listened to Lex, and Lex has got me, Lex points out the bloodline. And I also read those other verses where it says, I will resurrect, King David. So right now it's a sit back and see. But I do know this much. Somebody's going to come back that knew the old ways, that will teach us the Mosaic laws, that will show us that that's what we were supposed to be doing, that will show us the ordinances and everything that we were supposed to do as far as giving of, the sacrifices, giving of the peace offerings, the trespass offerings, things like that, so we can establish ourselves. So when we do go back to the temple, we'll be righteous. Anyways, I just wanted to share this. Have a good night, everyone.